Hey guys, Script here with another video. Star Wars evidence hints Rey has a secret force power Palpatine would envy. She pretty much has it all already, and I can't imagine what else she could possibly have. She heals, she shoots lightning, she does it all. Has all the Jedi in her for some reason. They chose her instead of Luke or Anakin or anybody else. So, okay, it's just... Rey Skywalker may have access to a force power her evil grandfather would envy in the Star Wars canon. At the very end of the sequel trilogy, Rey is seemingly ready to become a new Jedi Knight, a new kind of Jedi, one who's learned from the mistakes of the past Jedi. We're looking towards a bright new, assuming they meant future. To that end, her new status quo may allow her to access a key nexus in the Force in her upcoming Jedi Order movie in development from director Charmin Obaid Chinoy. Now, is this one of these trial balloons? Like they're telling these guys to throw this article on here, you know, so that they can see how people react to this before they officially do it. I know that companies do that. I'm not saying that that's the case here. This is probably just this person writing this article, but could be. Having been part of a rare Force dyad with Kylo Ren, it's speculated that Rey Skywalker is more focused on balance following the sequel trilogy, having learned from the mistakes of Luke Skywalker in his attempt to bring back the Jedi Order as it was during the prequels, itself being largely corrupt and compromised. See, this is where the lore kind of starts to get really messed up. So, first of all, the Force dyad, okay? That was added by JJ with a half an hour left in The Rise of Skywalker. The Last Jedi strongly implied that they were connected through the Force through Snoke. Snoke was responsible for that. You know, you have Kylo saying, oh, how are you doing this? Da, da, da. That's the first thing. So they retconned that because they didn't know what to do because they had no plan, as JJ said. The other thing about the whole, like, it's a dyad in the Force because Kylo Ren's dark side and Rey is light side. Well, neither of them are either one, really, if you think about it. And hear me out on this. So Kylo Ren has this sort of longing for Rey. Like, and you look at his face, you look at, like, the scene in The Last Jedi where they're sitting in the hut together and they're about to touch and they almost touch. There's, like, this lovingness about it. He's interested in her joining him, but he's also romantically interested in her. Like, it's not like he's, like, steadfast, I'm bad. That's not their focus, right? Their focus is is control and evil, and it's not supposed to be like so I don't see him as like this, you know, super dark sider, and he's not even a Sith, right? Because of course they tried to be different by saying he wasn't a Sith, even though he was trained by a guy who was trained by a Sith and even made by a Sith, but he's not a Sith, and then the Sith are back in Rise of Skywalker. It's just a complete mess. So he's not really that dark side. And then Rey is the same way. Like, as a Jedi, she has no control over her emotions. She's constantly angry, and we know that anger leads to the dark side. She's angry all the time. And then, in fact, she gets so mad that she actually uses Force lightning at one point. So I don't see either of them being really all the way light or dark anyway. They're both kind of nothing. Like, you don't really know. They're fighting their cause. So Rey's cause is the Resistance. But her cause was never being this, like, Jedi Master person. Because, again, how she went about it, how she carried herself, how she got to that end conclusion in The Rise of Skywalker didn't really make a ton of sense. She's also wielding a new yellow-bladed lightsaber, which has been tied to the idea of balance as well. Keeping that in mind, Rey being a more balanced Jedi might give access to a notable source of power as evidenced by past events in the Star Wars timeline. It's a lightsaber. And balance what? Like she's going to be a gray Jedi, and gray Jedi have yellow lightsabers? Is that the implication here? Is that what we're saying? As seen in Star Wars Rebels and the live-action Ahsoka series, the World Between Worlds is known as a Vergence scatter. I also view it as a cleverly added plot device. The Force Nexus beyond the physical realm, offering access to multiple points of time and space. But it's not time travel, right, Dave? Although there are doorways across the galaxy that can be unlocked using the Force, such as the mural found by Ezra Bridger and Sabine Wren on Lothal, there seem to be other ways in which the Force-sensitive spirit can access the Nexus as well. By using both the dark and light sides of the Force, acts of balance seem to tap into the world between worlds by using both the light and dark side of the Force. Okay. When Maul and Ezra merged a Jedi and Sith holocron together, they learned previously unknown and hidden knowledge, which may have been granted via the world between worlds, with the Nexus being more about knowledge rather than overt time travel, according to Dave Filoni. Yeah, well, overt or not, it's still time travel. Like, that's what it is. It's there so you can constantly have Anakin coming back. So now you can have Rey and Anakin in the world between worlds. During the events of the original trilogy, Luke Skywalker used his growing powers in the light to connect with the Sith Lord's Kyber crystal. And Axe saw his spirit meeting with his father 20 years apart in a Force nexus that was more than likely the world between worlds. Ahsoka Tano herself is also a more balanced Force sensitive, which could explain her experience with Anakin in the world between worlds. However, Rey and Kylo Ren were able to interact and confront each other regardless of space between them. It's a strong hint that their bond as a rare dyad could tap into the Force's nexus power as a merging of both the light and dark sides. Again, it's not that deep. It's also worth noting that it's been confirmed that a Force dyad can also manipulate time just as well as space. I don't know where that's confirmed, but that's another just convenient plot device so that you can continuously just keep rehashing characters and keep having meetings with people long dead. And if that's the route they're going, it's going to fail. As seen in Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, the visual dictionary pages from the sacred text are shown in detail, the very same books taken by Rey, which she used to continue her Jedi training, with Leia as her new master after Luke died in The Last Jedi. See, these visual dictionaries come out, like, they never show that in the movie. So they're able to make these massive retcons after the fact. One of these pages includes the Chain World Theorem, written down by a past Jedi who theorized the world between worlds' existence. Assuming that Rey has already read or will eventually read the entirety of the sacred text, means Rey will more than likely be aware of the powerful Force nexus in the upcoming movie. I don't see how it's so powerful. I mean, the only time it was ever really powerful, the world between worlds, was when it saved Ahsoka. It was time travel. It saved her. He grabbed her and pulled her out of there before Vader killed her, which essentially changed her timeline because she should have been dead. Otherwise, I don't really see it as anything really powerful. Ahsoka has this fake fight with Anakin and sees a bunch of stuff from the Clone Wars. What power was that? What did that do? What did that do? And it just had a cameo of Anakin. You could have taken that completely out of the story and it would have made absolutely no difference. It would have made no difference to the Ahsoka show at all if that wasn't there. So I don't really see it as this sort of powerful thing. Like, oh, look, I can go into the world between worlds and, I guess the power lies in being able to see stuff from the past and stuff. But then why do you need the Jedi text then? Like, isn't that where you're getting your information on the past? What are they trying to achieve here? Because they've got the Jedi texts, they've got the world between worlds, they've got all this stuff to achieve what exactly? Can she even get any more powerful? The concept of a dyad is bound to the balance of the Force rather than just the light alone, so it's certainly possible that Rey will be working to bring her own Jedi Order to life with a greater focus on balance, a greater embodiment of what she once was with Ben and Kylo. As such, perhaps Rey will have learned to access the world between worlds through said balance. Okay, so there's so much here. Okay, so first of all, Yoda says very explicitly that once you go down the dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny. That is lore. That is the creation of George Lucas. That is what this whole nonsense the Clone Wars has brought, that balance in the Force means that you have to tap into your dark side and somehow come balanced. No, that's the opposite. If you do that, you will become bad. Anakin started to tap into anger and emotion and the dark side, and one of the main things he tapped into was his selfishness, because ultimately, as much as he wanted to save Padme, he ended up choosing Padme, and his attempt to learn this process of saving her through Palpatine, which of course he didn't, but that was in his mind what he was doing, and he was willing to kill like a whole pile of kids and do a whole bunch of crazy stuff to do that, because once you go down the dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny. So this whole idea that you can be tapping into the dark side and you're somehow better off and you're more balanced. Balance is light side dominance. That is a fact. That has always been a fact. And for some reason, I get why. It's because most of these young people that grew up on Clone Wars is full of nonsense to me. To me, it's no different than any other non-canonical Star Wars thing. It's just a bunch of stories that they decided to do. Some of them completely contradict what was done in the past, ruin the lore, and don't make any sense. And this is one of them. That is not balance. I know it's balance in a very rudimentary, simpleton, black and white, checkerboard floor kind of way, but it's not balance in Star Wars. If you want to be balanced, if you want to be like Luke, you stop tapping into your anger, you throw your lightsaber away, and you balance yourself, you collect yourself. He visually shows us this by staying in the light, not by going dark. So this is all nonsense. And if this is the route they go, it will cement the destruction of the OT completely, and the prequels as well. This will completely erase everything George Lucas did for people that enjoy it. I'm not going to even consider it canon, and what would be the benefit of that? Like this, I want to tap into the dyad. Like, what did the dyad even really accomplish? Really, what was the purpose of it? It didn't really accomplish anything. You tell me in the comment section, like, what did the dyad accomplish other than them force Skyping and Ben being infatuated with her a bit and her loving him? What exactly did it accomplish? Ben was sent down a cliff. She ended up defeating Palpatine with all the Jedi on her own anyway. And then think of this too. This is the main thing here. This is completely contradictory even to the nonsense of the sequels, because when Palpatine realized they were a dyad and sucked all their force power, which again was ridiculous because he was so weak, how did he even was able to do that if they're this powerful dyad? Ben was in the light. So he wasn't dark when Palpatine was like, oh, this is a dyad. They were both Jedi at that point. So there you go. The whole thing is ridiculous. And now they're going to further just muddy the waters here, if this is true. As such, perhaps Rey will have learned to access the world between worlds through said balance, which accomplishes just cameos. It doesn't accomplish anything. Although Emperor Palpatine tried to enter the world between worlds in Star Wars Rebels, he never succeeded. He only got close when he tried to grab onto Ezra and Ahsoka, with Ezra having entered via the Lothal mural and Ahsoka being pulled in by Ezra. As such, there would certainly be a strong decree of poetic justice if Palpatine's granddaughter ends up succeeding where he failed, having attained something the Sith could never have achieved in the Star Wars timeline: balance in the Force itself. That's because balance is light side dominance. You can't be half Sith. If you go down the dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny. Children, this is Star Wars. Go back and watch the OT. All of this new stuff they're doing makes absolutely no sense. And if this is a trial balloon, I hope people bash this. But ultimately, I don't even care. Let them do it. Let them further ruin everything. So we're going to have these like gray Jedi running around that have no rules. They can just do whatever they want. And they're just, today I identify as a Sith and because I want to go do some Sith stuff. And tomorrow I will identify as a Jedi because I want to go do some Jedi stuff. And sometimes I'll switch between them in the middle of a sentence or any time during the day. Guys, this is totally stupid. Go back and watch the OT. Get the lore straight. This is nonsense. Anyways, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. Would you be interested in seeing more World Between World cameos and Rey becoming just even more of a superhero and using Force lightning one day and then healing the next? And it's so screwed up at this point. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. As usual, if you like this content, please like and subscribe and have yourselves a really good day.